Hi! If the title of this video made you feel seen or made you roll your eyes, you're in the right place. Are you constantly on the go, overworking, overcommitting, restless when you finally rest? That's not your ambition or work ethic. That's your nervous system trying to keep you safe. Like that time I finally went on holiday with a suitcase full of dissertations to grade. I'll tell you that story in a bit. Because busy feels safe, doesn't it? So let's have a look at how trauma conditions us to feel that, why it's a false safety, and how you can finally rest without feeling lazy or dead. I'm not here to tell you to work less. I'm here to tell you, if work feels hard, something's not working. It took me nearly half a century and a few cataclysmic burnouts to get this, but I got there in the end. Hop on. Let me introduce you to two lovely people. Professor Toddler has totally cracked the code. Every morning is a new adventure, every person a potential new best mate. He learns by experimenting, falling over, getting up, trying again. No internal performance review, no wondering how it looked from the outside. He's instinctively connected to his body and the present moment. When he's tired, he rests. When he needs help, he asks. Professor Toddler does not hustle for worth. For him, ease is home, not a reward for suffering. Flow, creativity, play are his natural state. He's fully present and deeply aligned with his core authentic self. And he's having the time of his life. Mr. Adult is busy. He's got 6 projects on the go and is in talks to start 2 more. There's no space in his calendar, but when he commits to something, let me tell you, he gets superhuman powers. So he commits, and commits, and commits, and then he just has to deliver. How do you think he got to where he is? Those awards don't just earn themselves, you know. Mr. Adult is allergic to rest and doesn't understand how some people can just sit there munching on their food, letting precious moments go by doing nothing. He'd love to be like that, but there's always so much to do. Never enough minutes in the hour, let alone hours in the day. But that's okay, because busy feels safe, and Mr. Adult loves feeling safe. I mean, who doesn't, right? Oh, here's that unease in his tummy again. Sorry, the meeting's about to start and Mr. Adult hasn't been late for anything since that one time in first grade. Of course, we all started out being Professor Toddler. In fact, we still are underneath all the layers of social conditioning. Can you hear that? Hello, little one. Many of us have been forced by early trauma to develop ultra-sophisticated protection mechanisms that have turned us into Mr., Ms. or MX adult. Some of you will hear this and think, nah, I had a good childhood, didn't I? Didn't I? Just to clarify, trauma isn't only about things that happened to us and shouldn't have. It's also about things that should have happened, but didn't. As Gabor Mate puts it, trauma is not what happens to you. It's what happens inside you as a result of what happened to you. And that can be big T trauma, all the horrors we don't need to list here. And it can also be little t trauma, things we tend to dismiss or try to get over, like emotional neglect, caregiver absence, or having to grow up too fast. We all start out as our core authentic self. Curious, unafraid, playful, friendly, fully present, fully in touch with our needs. Yeah, Professor Toddler, from whom we really have so much to learn. Then life starts teaching us it's all a trade-off. Eat your greens, then you can have dessert. Do your homework, then you can go play. Work hard, and you'll be successful. No pain, no gain. Incidentally, notice the implicit messages we absorb. Greens, homework, work, bad. Dessert, play, success, good. No wonder your kid hates broccoli and you hate Mondays. Very few of us grew up being genuinely valued for who we were as individuals. Many of us were taught in subtle or not so subtle ways that our primary purpose on this planet was to make other people happy. So we learned to prioritize other people's needs in order to keep the peace. Now, when you look after your own needs and rest, your body feels like you've done something wrong. That's uncomfortable. So you reach for anything that can alleviate that feeling. Work, being there for others, scrolling, even arguing will do at a push. Anything that's giving you the feeling you're doing something. But let's take a closer look at what's going on when we overcommit. If you're like most people, your brain is not so much a calm CEO making well-considered decisions. It's more like a company where the CEO hasn't been seen for a week and every team is sprinting in its own lane, never speaking to each other. A request comes in. The yes team jumps in with absolutely without consulting the calendar team. The get it done team has to complete the job it's been volunteered for while juggling 6 other things it never agreed to do. The compliance team is handing out underperformance reports, and when things get heated up, there's always the emergency drill team to save the day, and you're left to pick up the pieces. Picture this. End of the workday. Ding, ding. New email. Hey, quick one, could you just take a look at this before tomorrow, please? You reply, sure, no probs. Then look at your calendar. Gulp. Family match. It'll only take a few minutes. 2 hours later. Sorry everyone, I had to work late. 4 hours later. I am listening, darling. 8 hours later. Don't brain, I'm wide awake. Might as well get up and do some work. 10 hours later. Why am I like this? I want you to understand the following. This is a well-oiled machine designed to protect you. Neural networks developed in response to your life experiences, whose job it is to keep you safe from emotional pain in whatever way they can. Yes, they use outdated strategies and are now hurting more than helping you. But what we need here is not doubling down so one part of your nervous system can wrestle the other parts to the ground. What we need is to put that CEO back in charge. That is your core authentic self, the part of you that's unaffected by trauma and social conditioning, which can weigh up everything and always make decisions that are in your overall best interest, calmly and confidently. Such as, for example, resting when you need rest, pursuing work that excites you instead of draining you, and rejecting social narratives that tell you life is supposed to be hard. But this is far easier said than done, of course, because we have decades of momentum in the opposite direction and we're swimming in a hustle culture that teaches us the opposite of busy is lazy. We're conditioned early on to think that just being who we are is not enough. We need to work hard and earn everything from desserts to love to rest and who knows, maybe even some scraps of self-care. And so we work hard. We are there for everyone. We overcommit and then we shame ourselves into over-delivering. Somewhere along the way, our nervous system learned that busy equals safe and rest equals danger. If I'm useful, I'm less likely to be criticized. If I'm productive, then I can feel that I belong. If I'm on top of everything, nothing can sneak up on me, right? And I want you to remember this. That's the sign of a brilliant nervous system that has developed sophisticated ways to keep you safe. And busy feels safe. But here's the tricky thing. Deep down, we know we're playing strategy games with ourselves, hoping we don't notice. We might have pushed this awareness below the surface, but it's there, I assure you. And you'll know that's true when hard work makes you feel drained instead of replenished. And here's another tricky thing. It's never enough. It's not like I've completed 17 successful projects in a week and then I live happily ever after. It never ends. And that's because, like any bona fide addiction, it's not about the thing I keep doing and can't stop. It's about the other thing that the thing I keep doing is protecting me from. And that's the trap. Stopping feels like danger, so pushing yourself to the edge feels safer than slowing down. That's why nearly dead feels better than lazy. If this is resonating, the next section will make the whole thing click. And to help reach others who need to hear this, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. The truth is that overwork is a socially sanctioned addiction in a culture that equates work with identity. What do you want to be when you grow up? Anyone? How is it an addiction? I'm doing something I know is harmful and I can't stop. We all know it's not good to neglect our health and mental health for work, yet we keep pushing and pushing and pushing through gritted teeth. Oh, I see, is that why they call it grit? I think I found the title of my next bestseller. If it's not overwork, it's overcommitment, caretaking, housework, errands, even scrolling and squabbling. Anything other than nourishing rest, self-care, and that thing your heart is aching for. And get this, if all else fails, there's always anxiety. Yes, my friend, anxiety is work. You finally crash at the end of a long day, looking for some much-deserved rest, and what does your brain do? Dutifully presents you with a list of all the things that went wrong today and all the things that will probably go wrong tomorrow and for the rest of time. If work equals identity, how can you be hoping for a restful mind without feeling like you're going through total ego death? There you go, rest. Your totally legal trip, which neither of us expected at this point. So why can't we stop? Because as we said before, it's not about the thing, it's about what the thing is covering up. And just as typical snacks are empty calories for our bodies, so too overwork and busyness are empty nourishment for our nervous systems. Because they're addressing the wrong need. It's like scratching your elbow, hoping that'll stop you feeling thirsty. All right, true story. There was a period in my life when I went for 10 years without a holiday and barely a weekend or an evening for myself. All work, work, and more work. Either studying full-time and working full-time plus commuting, don't ask, or working several jobs at once. And no, studying or working from home had not been invented. The end of that insane 10-year period came in grading season. I was a university lecturer at the time. So, ta-da! I went on holiday to the south of France with 7 kilos of master's dissertations in my suitcase. I really hope you enjoyed your sunny grades, class. And no, in this case, I don't even have anyone to blame. It's simply what felt right to this brain here. Yes, I needed the money, but I did not need to work every waking minute. I had paid leave from the university, and no, I did not get a niece grading bonus. That's what happens when work becomes your identity, your safety, and your socially approved addiction. Back then, I'd have called it strong work ethic and really loving my job. Now I call it unhealed trauma. And yes, I really do love my job. I'm sure you'll understand if I say that getting several promotions in quick succession was one of the worst things to happen to me in that period. Though it sure felt good to be rewarded for wrecking my body and my mental health while telling myself lovely little stories. I remember asking a colleague how she managed to get all her marking done so quickly. Her answer baffled me for years. I divide the allocated time by the number of dissertations, and that's how long I spend on each. If that's not the most logical answer in the world, I don't know what is. And yeah, of course I was judgmental until I finally got it. She didn't have my work ethic. But here's what I've learned the hard way. Hard work is not about all the things that need doing. Hard work is about keeping going at all costs. Rest means the risk of suppressed feelings, insecurities, fears, and unhealed emotional wounds coming back to the surface. And then what? It took me a while to understand that the key prerequisite for rest is being comfortable with yourself and your needs. But many of us were taught early on that our needs were inconvenient. Ever been on a long family trip with an overactive bladder? So we learned to meet our own needs through the back door by prioritizing other people's needs through emotional suppression, people-pleasing, caretaking, overwork, in the hope that others will give us what we need. If safety and worth must be earned, it's a no-brainer that our nervous system will register rest as a threat. That's why rest makes you restless even when you do put your laptop in the freezer over the weekend. But you know what they say, rest is that thing you take before you need it. If you wait until you need rest, it's no longer rest, it's recovery or resuscitation. Let's address something quickly. If you're feeling objections bubbling up, congratulations. You are very well protected by a super sophisticated nervous system. Protective parts of you that have been working their socks off all your life to keep you safe by overperforming will likely panic at the prospect of not doing that anymore. They likely have decades of experience. They don't know a world in which worth is implicit and safety doesn't have to be earned with blood and tears. And that's totally understandable. We can appreciate their hard work and positive intentions while gently taking back the lead. In fact, do this with me right now if you're able to. If you're driving or it's not your thing, just listen. Take a deep breath and think about a part of you that might be a bit activated right now. Place a hand on your chest and say quietly, "Thank you for working so hard to keep me safe." Did you feel that shift? If not, that's fine. Maybe try again tomorrow. These hard-working parts of you don't have to fear change if you're leading your life from your core authentic self. So, what does self-led work actually look like? Well, remember Professor Toddler. Children's natural instincts and approach to life are very good reminders of what comes naturally to us as adults as well, if we peel back the layers of fear-based conditioning. And if you're thinking that we're responsible grown-ups now, that life is supposed to be hard and work is rarely fun, I want to invite you to consider the following. This is a social narrative that we've been propagating, and it's not even been serving us very well. We're not exactly the happiest bunch in history, are we? But other perspectives are available. Why not experiment and see what works better for you? Sure, sometimes life does require us to work hard, maybe juggling multiple jobs or navigating genuinely challenging circumstances for a while. The key is why you're working hard. Is it out of fear or is it out of choice? Is this work pushing you away from yourself or is it bringing you closer to yourself? If protective parts of you are leading, hard work is driven by threat because you're looking for self-worth and safety outside of yourself. When the self is leading, your value as a human being is never on the line. Hard work is an informed choice balancing all factors, including your needs, goals, energy, and well-being. When leading from self, you may be working hard, but it doesn't feel like hard work. It feels like a journey to the best possible version of you. Self-led work is play, discovery, adventure, or at the very least, a pathway to play, discovery, and adventure. And how can you dread Mondays when you start your week with that perspective? No amount of superhuman work, successes, possessions, or relationships can give you the feeling that you are enough. Only you can do that. And it begins with being honest with yourself. I leave you with this 10-second check-in for next time you're about to overwork, overcommit, or just finish this one thing. Ask yourself 2 simple questions when you notice that old pattern coming up. What am I trying not to feel right now? And what would help me feel 5% safer without working more? And if you'd like to learn more about leading your life from your authentic self instead of subconscious survival patterns, check out my 6-week self-leadership course linked in the description. Thanks for being here with me today. Keep up the good work and see you soon. Bye.